Good afternoon. My name is Donna Fiesel, and I'm your host of The Edge on IC Radio, your source for news and entertainment. You can also find us on television, channel 182 on Charter Communications and Abundant Television, which is found on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. Thank you so much for watching. I suggest you send an email if you would like some suggestions. Maybe do a little research for you on a particular topic, and I'm doing that right now. We had someone who wanted us to do a little research on anxiety. You can always send an email to donna@donnasedge.com. And I love all of your emails you send. Really encourages me, and I'm proud to be a servant for you. So if there's something you just really would like for me to research, go ahead and send that, okay? I would love to do that for you. So this is about anxiety, and anxiety does affect way over 40 million people, and probably more people than we know who is over the age of 18, just in the United States. So it makes it the most common mental disorder. And don't let the word mental disorder throw you, okay? We're going to explain why in a minute. This is marked by extreme fear, uncertainty, feelings of anxiousness, and behavioral disturbances. People who experience anxiety are often worried about the future and how it may impact them. Understanding symptoms related to anxiety is necessary to help identify the condition, the guide treatment, and establish support for individuals who are suffering from anxiety. Now, I wanted to mention this. This is from choosingtherapy.com. This is one of my common go-to sites when I'm looking for information of anything to do with your mental being or your well-being. Maybe even if you're having a problem with a part of your body, maybe you're having some issues with your kidneys or whatever, you're going to be able to find some information here, or they may send you somewhere else where you can find the necessary info. So anxiety disorders are treatable. Therefore, that's good news. Therefore, symptoms of anxiety can improve with effective treatment, which typically includes a comprehensive approach of therapy and medication in some instances. So let's talk about the symptoms of anxiety. Okay, now everyone experiences anxiety in a different way. Okay, so it's all unique, but there are certain symptoms frequently experienced by individuals with anxiety. Here are some of the most common. Constant fear that something bad is going to happen. And then we're going to explain some of these on down throughout the show. May have to wait 2 shows out of this one. Difficulty sleeping, may have dizziness, excessive worrying, irritability, a rapid heartbeat, restlessness, sweating, muscle tension. Now, symptoms of anxiety can impact a person's life at home, work, and at school. As symptoms progress, relationships could suffer as a desire to withdraw and isolate from the outside world. People with severe anxiety may lose the desire to care for their own personal well-being and struggle to complete even with basic hygiene needs. Because there are so many symptoms, different symptoms of anxiety, 2 people could have a vastly unique experience even though they may have the same diagnosis. One person could be irritable and constantly worry, and the other person could experience difficulty sleeping. It may be heart palpitations. Symptoms and risk factors for anxiety may be impacted by various elements, including the type of anxiety, your gender, and maybe your age. While most people recognize the negative symptoms of anxiety, it can be easy to overlook the potential benefits of anxiety, including increased productivity, better organization, and an avoidance of potentially dangerous situations because you're worried about things. Now, let's talk about generalized anxiety disorder symptoms. Okay, characteristics by classic anxiety symptoms lasting longer than 6 months. Could be difficulty concentrating, maybe constant worry and stress, irritability, exhaustion, sleep difficulty, restlessness, and maybe even muscle tension. So generalized anxiety disorder is one of the most commonly experienced types of anxiety. However, there are several types of anxiety based on one's symptoms and the duration of the symptoms presented. Panic attack symptoms. People who suffer from panic disorder experience recurrent panic attacks unexpectedly. They could be just any time or induced by a specific trigger. These attacks often include an intense feeling of impending doom, rapid heartbeat, and sweating. Now, panic attacks happen suddenly and reach the peak of the attack within minutes. Now, again, this information is found on choosingtherapy.com. That's choosingtherapy.com. Let's talk about the symptoms of other types of anxiety. According to the National Institute of Mental Health, types of anxiety include agoraphobia. This is the fear and avoidance of places that might induce a panic attack or would prove unsafe should a panic attack occur. One might also fear being alone in a panic-inducing place. There was a while I was working for this company in the corporate world, and I had to park my car in a parking deck at the airport in Birmingham. And I'm going to tell you, for a long time, I had a real issue with going to parking decks. As I was it was night. I had a late flight. I was coming home. I was trying to find my car, and two men came at me. And thank God above, this guy comes off of the elevator and sees them. I started screaming at the top of my lungs. And this guy happened to be carrying a gun, thank God for that. So he comes and runs out there and scares off the two guys they were going to harm me. There was no one else, and remember now, this was really, really late at night because my flight had been delayed. And I'm going to tell you, I had a real problem. I'm okay with it now, but I had a real problem going into closed off areas, places like places like that where you park your cars. And I'm over it now, but I'm going to tell you, things can happen that can trigger a phobia. Now, specific phobias, people who have a specific phobia may experience intense anxiety and fear about a specific animal or maybe a specific place or a thing. That's the way I was with parking decks. Social anxiety disorder. This is a social phobia. Individuals who suffer from social anxiety disorder have a general intense fear of situations that are social or performance related. Those with social anxiety disorder often feel that their performance is being negatively evaluated. The constant worry may cause people to avoid social situations that they would like to engage in. And everybody has this to a degree. You've heard people say, I couldn't speak. One of the most feared things before death, right before death, is standing up in front of a group speaking. And I'm going to have to tell you what, I don't know that I ever had that phobia, but I had an awesome school teacher, and her name was Gwendolyn Ritchie, and she got me out of that fear. I was the quietest. I still graduated as being the quietest person in the class. So I remember one particular day, she said, we're going to have speech. And she said, the quietest person in the room is going to start. Well, everybody knew she was talking about me. And so all their eyes were at me. Well, that made me even more nervous. And she didn't give me any time to be nervous. She said, get up here right now. It's time for a speech. And I said, what am I going to talk about? She said, whatever enters your mind. So I got up there and I started talking about how nervous I was being up there. And it was so funny how she was looking at me and she was encouraging me. That's why when you see me with guests may be a little nervous about being on the show. Maybe they've never been on the show before. And that's why I look at people and I nod and I smile a lot. I remember the very first show that I was actually a guest on myself. There was a noontime show, and it was in Anniston, Alabama. And this is when I first started working in the cell phone industry. And it was brand spanking new. Everybody had landline phones back then. There were no cell phones, very few. And so I was invited to be a guest on this noontime show and talk about cell phones. Why in the world would you buy a cell phone? I remember how the interviewer, she was a little, I'm better than everybody else, kind of an attitude. She had this real big attitude, and it made me nervous. I mean, so what she would do is she'd have these little quippy questions that she would ask me about it, and then just stop and just stare at me. Well, that made me even more nervous. I'll never forget it, ever. And so I asked God, I said, why did I have to go through that, God? Now I know, because I know what's going to make somebody nervous when they're on my show. And so I know that I can look at them and I can smile and I can ask sensible questions when I'm looking at the person who is a guest on my show, because it's really important to me that folks feel comfortable when they're around me. So that's I had to go through that so that I can learn how to do things for you. Absolutely. Okay, so let's go ahead and talk about separation anxiety disorder. Individuals who suffer from separation anxiety have an excessive worry or feel physical discomfort when separated from loved ones. They're concerned that harm may come to the loved one. They avoid separation or avoid being alone. I think everybody knows somebody like that. What does an anxiety condition feel like? So, having an anxiety condition can be emotionally and mentally draining, making it challenging to function on a day-to-day basis. Although everyone's experience with anxiety may vary, it still manifests in your thoughts, your fears, feelings, and in your bodies. So let's talk about feelings and thoughts. Then we're going to talk about other things. People with chronic anxiety often worry excessively about everyday situations. They tend to frequently and uncontrollably get inside their own head, which makes them feel even more nervous and on edge. There's a reason this show is called The Edge. Absolutely. Feelings and thoughts of those with anxiety might include feeling annoyed, irritated, easily frustrated, even about just trivial things. Catastrophic outlook, which creates intense dread about something terribly happening. Brain fog, causing inability to organize thoughts, problem solve, make decisions, and even speak on occasions. They suffer from memory loss, taking so much mental energy. Having racing or intrusive thoughts that are hard to stop or control. Overanalyzing just about anything or misinterpreting situations. Feeling like all eyes are on them and they'll be negatively judged. Let's go into a commercial break and we're going to be talking about physical symptoms. Okay, so we'll be right back in just a minute. You hang in there. The Hatter Cafe and Country Inn is nestled in the northeast corner of Alabama the Beautiful in the delightful town of Mentone. We're located on top of scenic Lookout Mountain near Little River and DeSoto State Park and located only 5 minutes from shopping and restaurants. There is also a nearby community walking path and golf course. We welcome everyone through the doors and we are committed to outstanding service for all guests. At the Hatter Cafe and Country Inn, we invite people from all walks of life to come and get away from it all, enjoy the open spaces, treetop views, fresh, clean air, and experience Southern hospitality at its finest. We look forward to hosting you. To reserve a special event, or if you would love a special getaway at the Country Inn, you can call us at 256-634-2018.
Are you ready?
We all wonder what tomorrow will bring, but the future lays itself at the feet of the prepared and surrenders to the will of the persistent. It's not easy, but today shapes you so you can shape tomorrow. With Northeast Alabama Community College, when the future asks if you're ready, you can answer.
Yes.
Begin your future at Northeast Alabama Community College.
The only place I buy my beef is Lone Tree Ranch in Collinsville, Alabama. Their cattle is born and raised on their ranch, grass and grain fed, and you can feel confident when you serve your family and friends because their beef is all natural and no antibiotics or hormones are added. You can buy whole beef or perhaps go in with family or friends and buy half. Their customer service is number one as they take care of the delivery to their local processor and can deliver to your home for a small added fee. They also offer herd replacement heifers. I always call Lone Tree Ranch in Collinsville, Alabama for my beef specialty recipes and cookouts, and you can too. Food shortages are increasing, so buy local by calling 256-523-6462. That's 256-523-6462.
Wow, it's so soft and smooth.
It's cool to the touch. How did you do that?
Well, we took MyPillow's patented fill and combined it with this new technology that we didn't have back then when I invented MyPillow to bring you the best pillow in history, MyPillow 2.0. Because of all of you, MyPillow 2.0 has been a huge success, and now we're bringing you our best-selling Go Anywhere MyPillows with the same temperature-regulating technology. Made with my patented adjustable fill and brand new cooling fabric, they're truly the next generation of MyPillow. So go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to save over 60% on our MyPillow 2.0 4-pack special. You'll get 2 MyPillows and 2 Go Anywhere MyPillows, regular $259.92, now only $99.98. King size just $10 more. This is a limited time offer, so please order now.
Donna's Designs offers a line of handmade memorial, wedding, and keepsake jewelry that launched back in 1970. I'm a self-trained jewelry designer, and I will work closely with you to create unique designs you can love and treasure for years to come. Whether that be flowers that were used in a funeral arrangement or stones you found on the beach at a memorable trip, call me at 256-659-4319, and let's think of the possibilities.
At Lamone's Mexican Restaurant, located in Henniger, Alabama, and voted Best Mexican Restaurant of DeKalb County, Alabama 2020, we're here to serve you with authentic Mexican cuisine. Order easily online by going to lamonsmex.com or call 256-657-3999 to place your order. We're open Sunday through Thursday, 11 a.m. to 9 p.m., and Friday and Saturday, 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. Whether you're celebrating a cozy date night for two or a celebration for a crowd, at Lamone's you'll love our atmosphere and friendly servers. Thank you for dining with Lamone's Mexican Restaurant.
You have been at this for 12 years. Why are you doing it? Because God's children are not for sale.
Rated PG-13.
Okay, we're back.
At Liberty Bank, we're all about community. Whether it's to help with a charity fundraiser or help families in need, toys at Christmas, or a local football team, we're here for you. You see, we realize the importance of family. Sometimes it's to build a new home or necessary home repairs. We're here for you. If you like the feel of a small town bank with all the conveniences of a big city bank, we're here to serve you. You will find us at any of our convenient locations in DeKalb, Marshall, Etowah, and Blount counties in North Alabama. You can call and speak with any of our friendly staff at 256-659-2175 or check us out on the web at libertybankal.com. And thank you for your support of our community. Member FDIC Equal Housing Lender.
This is Donna, and I am your host of the HNIC Radio, your source for news and entertainment. You can find us on television, channel 182 on Charter Communications and Abundant Television, which is found on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. This is part 1 of dealing with anxiety. We all have it from time to time. I don't think there's anyone on planet Earth who has ever walked on this earth who hasn't had some sort of anxiety sometime in their life. It could be my parking deck experience I had. I'm going to tell you what, every time Phil would have to just like practically throw me in the car to get me inside a parking deck. It was hard on me. It was really difficult, but I finally got over it. But I made up my mind to do it. I said, I can't go through life like this. I can't be afraid of parking decks. So anyway, I don't even get nervous about it now. As a matter of fact, we're planning a trip, and I know we're going to have to take a car into a parking deck, but that's okay. I'll handle it. Okay, now let's talk about physical symptoms. Okay, now the physical symptoms of an anxiety condition can differ depending on the person and the type of anxiety disorder. However, the symptoms, they commonly occur to varying degrees to people with anxiety. They may have tightness in the chest, could be shallow breathing, heart palpitations, nausea, upset stomach, or butterflies in the stomach. You hear that a lot when people say, oh, I got to make a speech. I got butterflies in my stomach. I'm sure it happens to everybody when they have to get up there to some extent. Body tensions, sometimes all over, other times in specific areas of the body. Feeling tired or fatigued, lightheadedness, difficulty swallowing, or feeling like you're choking when you're eating. Trouble falling asleep or constantly waking up at night. Loss of appetite or eating and snacking too much. Now let's talk about severe anxiety symptoms. A little bit different. Severe anxiety symptoms can often resurface or surface from untreated or unmanaged anxiety. In turn, the anxiety becomes more extreme and more debilitating. Now, a sense of detachment from yourself in reality could be part of the symptoms, and that's called disassociation. Extreme fear of dying, or being obsessive, worrying about getting physically injured, just feeling out of control, or like you're going crazy. Socially isolating or just shutting down. Self-destructive behaviors like excessive drinking or using drugs. A sensation of being struck, like a paralyzing anxiety, may even have suicidal thoughts. Options for anxiety treatment. You can have talk therapy, and I know some real good Christian psychiatrists. I mean, these people are all on it, and who can help you out. You can get help from a licensed therapist. Sometimes it starts at about $60, maybe even up per week to get help. And I don't know about insurance. You might cover that with the person that you're talking to. Dr. Don Brock is a good person in our area right here. He is in Mentone, Alabama, but I think he has an office in Fort Payne. But he's a good guy. He's a good Christian guy. Psychiatry for anxiety. Looking for an anxiety treatment that prioritizes you. Talkatry can help. So you can find somebody like that. You can take assessments online, which is what they're suggesting you can do right here. Again, the website is choosingtherapy.com. Choosingtherapy.com. Okay, let's go a little bit farther. Okay, do I have anxiety, or am I just feeling anxious? Sometimes people just feel anxious. And you start freaking out thinking, oh my God, I got anxiety. Let's just talk about this. So it's normal to feel anxious when faced with challenges or stressful situations. But sometimes it can be hard to tell or even notice if your anxious feelings are being chronic. I know in our family, almost everybody in the whole family freaks out anytime there's any kind of a storm warning, a tornado warning, or anything like that. I don't, but there are a lot of members of my family who do. I mean, they will just get beside themselves. And it's because a lot of tornadoes have been through this area before. A lot of folks we know have lost their homes or maybe even lost lives because of that. So when the tornado warning comes, everybody freaks out. Okay, let's see. If you're unsure if you have anxiety or if you're feeling anxious, ask yourself the following questions, and this just might help. Am I frequently worrying about multiple things, situations, or activities? Are my anxious feelings too intense in comparison to the actual circumstance or stressor? Do my anxious feelings linger even after the problem or the issue has been resolved? Do I frequently experience intrusive thoughts that cause me to get anxious and can't brush them off no matter how hard I try or how irrational they may be? Are these feelings of anxiety making it difficult to do my job, take care of things at home, or maybe even get along with other people? Have I noticed that this has been going on for a while, for at least 6 months? Now, when anxious feelings are intense, they happen over and over again, and they're disrupting important life areas, you could potentially have an anxiety condition. Now, anxiety disorders tend to get worse over time, so it is critical that you seek professional help to get the proper diagnosis and treatment. Even in mild cases of anxiety, going to a therapy can still be beneficial because they can help you gain effective coping strategies to better deal with symptoms and enhance your overall well-being. Now, what are some of the outward signs of anxiety? Now, the signs associated with anxiety vary from person to person. However, common signs include constant worry, that impacts daily life, feelings of restlessness, irritability, changes in sleeping patterns, physical symptoms that were not previously noticed, like maybe stomach problems, like a headache, maybe muscle tension. The signs that become increasingly worse with time if not treated and managed. Therefore, it is imperative at all stages of life to get the proper treatment when signs of anxiety present itself in children, adolescents, adults, and older adults. Now, the signs may differ from person to person, but should be taken seriously across all populations. Some anxiety is normal, but when it begins to impact one's day-to-day activities, it can decrease productivity. Okay, I want to see if we can get finished through this particular segment, and let's talk about the signs of anxiety in women. According to the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services Office on Women's Health, anxiety impacts over 18% of people in the United States. However, women experience anxiety at nearly twice the rate of males. Now, signs of anxiety in men. According to the National Health Interview Survey, about 9% of men reported feelings of anxiety or depression. However, only 41% of that population sought treatment, therapy, or medication for their symptoms. Now, among men who felt anxious or depressed on a daily basis, younger men aged 18 to 44, that would be 39.2%, were as likely as older men aged 45 and over, 42.3%, to have taken medication for these feelings or to have seen a mental health professional in the previous 12 months. According to Lopez and colleagues, men with generalized anxiety disorder have a higher rate of alcohol and drug use disorder and nicotine experience. Now, what are the signs of anxiety in children? Children are likely to exhibit anxiety symptoms through behavioral changes such as clinginess, maybe school absences, temper tantrums, they cry a lot, or maybe some of the changes in speech. However, children experiencing anxiety may also experience physical symptoms similar to adults, such as heart palpitations, sweaty palms, and irritability. Family members and school personnel are often the first to notice these types of changes in children. Let's talk about the signs of anxiety in teens. The symptoms of anxiety will vary from teen to teen. However, common symptoms include constant worrying, a sense of restlessness, excessive stress. Caregivers may also notice teenagers mentioning more physical symptoms such as headaches, stomach aches, or maybe even muscle tension. Teenagers may also experiment with substances to help decrease symptoms and to relieve the stress associated with anxiety. Due to the importance of the teen years for social and emotional development, adults must be cognizant of possible anxiety symptoms in teens and behavioral physical changes. A lot of this started happening when COVID hit. Nobody is meant to just stay home all the time, wear a mask, and just forget they're on planet Earth and be in their own little tiny little surrounding. That caused a lot of issues. We're going to have another show on this. This will be show number 2 that you'll be seeing. On that show, we're going to talk about the signs of anxiety in older adults and seniors and examples of how anxiety presents itself and how mild anxiety may present, how moderate anxiety, and then severe anxiety. Then we're going to talk about the treatment for anxiety symptoms. Thank you so much for watching The Edge. My name is Donna, and I am your host of The Edge on IC Radio, your source for news and entertainment. You can also find us on television, channel 182, on Charter Communications and Abundance Television, which is found on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. I definitely appreciate you watching us every day, Monday through Friday from 1 to 3 p.m. If you would like me to do some research and have a show, something you're interested in, you're the reason we have this show. So you can also send an email to donna@donnasedge.com, donna@donnasedge.com, and I'll be glad to go ahead and do some research and get it on the air for you. Thank you so much for watching.